Welcome back to another Road to Platinum video. As you can see, we're here with Assassin's Creed Shadows. If you don't know how these videos work, basically I'm going to give a review on the game as well as go over any issues I had with the Platinum. So, starting with the Platinum section of the video. The Platinum took me about 55 hours to do. And that could have been way less, like about 10 hours less probably. But I forgot to do the legendary sumis, the fucking drawings, and that resulted in me waiting for seasons twice. I waited through all the seasons one time, realized I missed one, and had to wait all the way until summer again, so that was fun. But overall, the Platinum was fairly easy and straightforward. I had majority of the trophies done by the time I finished the main story, so very straightforward. I had no issues at all. The only thing I would say is if you have any issues with the combat trophy, maybe look up a YouTube video. That is what I did for a few of them, just to find a spot where you can do these without having to go out of your way looking forever. Also, for the one trophy that requires you to kill or perform a finisher on a dazed and poisoned enemy, I would just upgrade Noway's ability for the I have it written down here somewhere. Upgrade one of her abilities though for the her fucking what is it? Her chain thing, bro. Kusirigama. Upgrade the ability for Kusirigama. It'll cause daze on an enemy and then just swap to your katana that has a poison effect and finish him that way. Because that was like the only trophy where I had an issue with. But other than that, trophies are easy. I had no issues with this game at all. But that's it for the Platinum section for the most part. I mean, again, straightforward. Took 55-ish hours to do, 56, whatever the fuck. And yeah, I highly recommend Platinuming it if you're just playing through the main story, because it's just super easy cleanup. It took almost no time at all after the main story. But now to the review section. So, if you guys have watched these, you at this point know I don't give too much about the story. But I will say that the start of the story is very good. It works very well. You have some Quentin Tarantino style of scenes. The whole first like 4 or 5 hours is very stylish. That does, however, fall off at the end. The whole last few missions and like the whole chapter 3 of the game felt very rushed to me personally. I think that it hurt the story a little bit, but the story was still solid. It was a good story for the modern day AC games. Yeah, as you guys know, Valhalla, not great. Mirage, better. Odyssey, story wise, yeah, Odyssey's funny, but it's not great for an AC game. But this was one of the better stories in recent years for Assassin's Creed, which is good. And had a few good characters. Had a few good side characters. Again, very comedic is how this game's dialogue is. There's a lot of comedic conversations between characters and funny moments and things like that. But yeah, so now to the open world stuff. So, we'll start with the map. The map itself is huge and gorgeous. The way they did terrain and foliage in this game is phenomenal. The sense of scale is some of the best of any game I've played. The thickness of the foliage also adds to the immersion so well. The entire map is designed very well to the point where there's a lot to see constantly. Obviously there's a lot to do. It's a modern day Assassin's Creed game. There's so much content on the map, but overall the map feels very good, and they did a very good job at making the world feel lived in when you're exploring mainly cities obviously, but even if you're exploring like some side roads, you know, you pass a random merchant or you pass a random person, and it gives you that sense of lived in. And I do think that the world design for this game was very good. You know, you have your classic Assassin's Creed set pieces for parkour here and there, you know, and you got some just overall a very pretty world. And that comes down to the fact that it's fucking Japan, naturally beautiful, and Ubisoft does a very good job at recreating the place their games take place in. So overall, great open world though. Now to the side activities. So side activities wise, there are a lot. There's a decent amount of stuff to do. So you have castles and forts, which you're watching me do here. And basically you go in and infiltrate to kill certain enemies, which are the Samurai Daisho. And once you do so, that will open a legendary chest in the castle or fort, and that'll give you a unique gear piece. There are also contracts that you can get from each hideout, which can vary from stealing stuff, killing groups, or assassinating a target, or destroying something with like explosive barrels and stuff like that. And that the contracts add a good amount of content because they refresh every season. They're different for each region, and they just let you, if you want to come in and play the game for 30 minutes or something, you can go and boot up one of those real quick and have fun. Real quick, while we're talking about the whole contracts thing, the Animus Hub stuff in this game, I will say, is some of the best side content they've done, simply because the way it lets you get parts and pieces of packs you normally have to spend money on is great. So if you guys don't know, there are projects in this game, which are essentially battle passes. They are not timed, they do not go away, they're there forever. But essentially they're battle passes, and each week you get 4 different things to do, which is usually killing someone, doing a tournament, finding echoes, killing a certain amount of enemies, or getting a certain amount of resources, stuff like that. But so you get 4 of those a week, which is essentially 4 tiers a week, and each battle pass has 21 tiers, so roughly 5 to 6 weeks to do each one. But essentially, and sometimes that's even shorter, because sometimes they'll give 600, sometimes they'll give 800. So it is different on how many points they give you, so that also changes how long it takes to do the battle pass. But essentially these battle passes have backstory that you just read, like a little codex page, keys, which we'll get into in a second, and then gear pieces. So like the ones that are in there now have outfit for Naoe and Yasuke, as well as a weapon for each of them. So there is, or 2 weapons for each of them actually, I'm pretty sure. But so there's that, and then the keys, like I was saying. And basically the keys, what those do is you can go over to the exchange, and that updates also weekly, and there's also a daily section. But that updates weekly, so you can go ahead and get stuff from the Ubisoft store, whatever, the Helix store, that's what it's called. But that lets you get stuff from the Helix store for free without spending money. And I think that's some of the best, it's better than the other monetizations that they've done in the past. Because the one for Odyssey, or not Odyssey, well yeah, the one for Odyssey was a grind fest. The one for Valhalla sucked ass. The one for Origins was RNG like a motherfucker. Because the one for Origins, you had to grind gold, and then you had to just hope that you get something from these, which usually you don't. It's a very small drop rate for Helix pack items in those. But you do get stuff sometimes. I got a few mounts from it and a few outfits. It's a grind fest though. But I do like this system, and I hope it stays good. Right now though, it's looking like we're not getting another project for at least another month or 2, which is a bit rough because right now there's nothing to do in the game. They did add a new quest, I haven't done it yet. But from what I know, that quest is only like 30 minutes long. So we'll see what they do at post-launch. I get it's the early months and they're going to focus on fixes and quality of life stuff more than anything else right now. Because they're revamping parkour and stuff with the next update. So I get it, but they got to add new stuff to do as well for this game to stay alive. Anyway, so now other side stuff. There are Kunikiri and the Kata, which are rhythm mini games for each character. The Kunikiri for Naoe and the Kata for Yasuke. And again, they're just rhythm games, essentially. There's horse archery challenges for Yasuke, which the horse just kind of goes. You can't stop it or anything. The horse just goes and you got to shoot targets as it's going. And then you have the hidden paths for Naue, which are parkour challenges, essentially. You just got to get through and open a chest. So, fairly simple there. There's also shrines and temples. The temples have you get lost scrolls, and the shrines have you pray, and those are super easy. Then there's coffins, which are puzzles, essentially, to get a legendary chest at the end of them. Sometimes I think they're purple. No, that's the paths. Sorry. But, yeah, and then, real quick before we get into combat and progression, let's talk about our main characters real quick. And I think this is a big positive for the game, having two main characters, that is. So, starting with Naue, she's a shinobi character and is very agile but weak. She is not as weak as people say. She can hold her own. She's very strong in her own way. She's very good at stealth. I mean, obviously, it's Assassin's Creed, it's her thing. She's very good at stealth. And she's likable. Same for Yasuke. They're both likable protagonists. There's not necessarily anything special about either one of them, though. Especially Yasuke. I thought he was going to be... Well, not especially Yasuke. Both of them have their faults. But Yasuke, I went into this mainly because playing the first few hours, it seems like he's going to be super honorable. And I kind of went into this whenever I had an option in dialogue to pick the honorable option for him. But then, when you can't pick dialogue later in certain scenes, he's not honorable. So, that was just a personal thing for me that I noticed. It seemed like he would kind of flip-flop back between honorable and not honorable. So, I thought that was weird writing, personally. But yeah, anyway. Yasuke, he is he's slow. Like very slow compared to Naue. Like if you were to play Naue and then switch to Yasuke, you're like, holy shit, he's slow as fuck. But he's very slow in combat and outside. He can't do parkour like at all. But he deals heavy hits. And he's all around great in combat. And a little bit about parkour. So parkour in this game isn't bad. It's very stylish. It looks pretty. Very simple. It's a drop from Mirage, but it's better than Valhalla. And that's simply because in Valhalla, if we're slow, can't do very much. I like the fact that I can't climb on everything in this game. So Naue does really good. Yasuke can't parkour at all for the most part. I mean, he can. It's very slow and very simple. Naue, parkouring and using her grappling hook in the parkours are fun. But overall, parkour is a downgrade from Mirage. That will be fixed. They already showed gameplay and stuff. It looks to be way better when the update comes out. I'll make a video on the update when that does drop. But parkour does look better. Like, I can't back eject at all. I don't know if that's me not knowing how this game works. But right now I can't back eject at all. And I think that's because the height differences for back eject aren't like Mirage. Which, again, that's something they're fixing with that parkour update. So, parkour will probably be on the same level as Mirage with the next update. But as of launch, even though this is after launch, as of launch, parkour not great, but better than Valhalla. So now let's get into, where was I? Fuck, sorry. Okay, now to progression. So there's two forms of major progression in the game. There's the knowledge points, which you get from all the side activities we talked about, except for contracts, castles, and forts. These points teach you new abilities, essentially. And then there's skill points, which you get from leveling up and also from castles, forts, and I think contracts sometimes. There's a lot of skills here, not near as many as Valhalla, which is a great thing, but there's still quite a bit. And there's one for each weapon in playstyle. So Naue has her Katana, Tanto, Kusarigama, tools, shinobi, and assassin. So the first three are her weapons, which have abilities and passive boosts. The abilities are essentially like, they'll range from just one hard attack, or there'll be something that will like stagger an enemy so you can get a posture attack on them because they'll be weakened, or they'll increase, or they'll like the Kuzugiriyama, whatever the fuck, that'll have abilities that will increase like her range so that she does more AoE attacks. The Tanto's more focused on like a single person. We'll talk about that a lot more in a second. And then you have the passive abilities, like I was saying, which we'll break down a little bit later. Sorry. Sorry, I lost my spot. Okay. And then the tools, skill tree gives her access to new tools and also upgrades the one she has, as well as overall capacity of the tools. So tool-wise, she has her kunai, which is throwing knives, shuriken, which are throwing stars, and you can basically use these to destroy lights and like blow up explosive barrels, because you have a plethora of the throwing knives, or of the shuriken, but you don't have that many of the kunais, so. And you can upgrade it again, you can upgrade the capacity, but if you're playing through the game for the most part not upgrading that skill tree in particular, it's better to use your shuriken for explosive barrels and stuff like that. Sorry. And then there's the smoke bombs, which those are obvious, and then you have the bells, which are for distracting enemies. Then there's the shinobi tree, which has some combat abilities. There's one to slow time, the other kicks enemies down so you can ground attack them. And then there's buffs in there as well to grabbing, grappling hooks, vaulting, fall damage, and then ability that lets you hide in shallow water with a reed. Lastly, there's an assassin tree, which is all passive, and these boost how much assassination damage you do, as well as what assassinations you can perform. It also boosts your eagle vision and adrenaline chunks, which adrenaline chunks are your it's how you use your combat abilities. One adrenaline chunk lets you use a combat ability. Now to Yasuke's tree. There is the long katana, the naginata, the kanabo, the teppo, samurai, and bow. These all are weapon trees except for samurai, which has combat abilities but also boosts adrenaline chunks. As well as his rush ability, which is just from sprinting into people and objects, as well as his assassination ability, which is not stealth at all. It's a brutal assassination, so you can get one hit an enemy usually. And of course, for both of them, all these trees have passive percentage boost. So it'll be like 1.5% to this damage, or 1.5% resist of boost, or 1.5% of like defense boost, or I think some of them have like a resist to certain effects and stuff like that as well. Sorry, god damn it, I keep losing my spot. Get out of here. Sorry, okay, and then the final part of progression is the hideout. No. Which is where you can build whatever you want. You know, you have many different props, trees, rocks, animals, buildings, pathways, lighting, and you can really make your own. But the big thing we're talking about is buildings. So by building certain ones and upgrading them, you can increase ration efficiency, scout numbers, and their efficiency. You can also make it so you can upgrade and engrave weapons there. You can also make it so you can increase ally levels. Now to combat. So you have all the weapons we talked about. So for now, you have the katana, which is your standard sword. She moves very fast, and it'll probably be one of the weapons you use the most. And this is, again, like a more one-on-one weapon. But you can, dodge around people, pick certain enemies out. So it's usable for sure. And then you have the Kusurigama, which is a chain with a blade, and it'll help push back enemies, and, you know, do AoE effects. It'll also you can also use it to launch yourself to an enemy to perform an assassination. This is a passive ability. Then there's the Tanto, which lets you double assassinate, also passive. It's a very fast weapon, but ultimately weak. You can have two weapons equipped for fast swap, and you can also, you know, have your like katana equipped, and then you have your Tanto equipped on the secondary slot, so that you can double assassinate. It does not have to be equipped to double assassinate, it just has to be in that second slot, just so you know. And then of course you can, you know, hop between our tools and stuff if you want to do that. Like, you could throw a kunai at an explosive barrel and attack, or, you know, in the middle. Even some of the abilities, like there's this one ability where you can stab them, and then you kind of kick off them, and then it lets you just throw a smoke bomb right away. It's part of the ability. So, you know, you can use tools in combat. They're not just for stealth. And then now Yasuke. He has the long katana, which is the same as Naoi's essentially, but longer and hits harder. The Naginata, which is the long staff with a blade at the end, and it's used mainly for crowd control. Then you have the Kenabo, which is a giant club essentially, and it's slower but hits hard, which I'm using right here. And it's faster because we have the engravings and stuff like that. Then there is the bow, which is a bow. There's the Teppo, which is a musket. This is my least favorite weapon. It does little damage and reloads slowly unless you get engravings. There's also allies, which help in combat as well. There's two parts though to allies. There are stealth allies and combat allies. The stealth ones will assassinate and distract enemies. The combat ones will apply effects to enemies and fight with you for a time period. Overall though, game is good. I had fun with it. I do have a few complaints that we'll talk about right now. So, few complaints. And I already talked about this one a little bit. Story. Very rushed at the end. It was good for modern day Assassin's Creed. It's still not as good as probably pre-Syndicate. Yeah. Origins was really good actually. So it's not as good as anything Origins and under. But it's probably the best since Origins. And my issue, and this is the issue I have with every Assassin's Creed game after Origins, except for Odyssey, I haven't played through the story. But every other game after that, actually it's really just Valhalla. It's just Valhalla in this. But the main story, everything feels so fucking separated. I mean, I get that you're assassinating all these targets in this game for revenge, and then in Valhalla I get you're trying to make the Vikings into fucking whatever the fuck so you can stay in England. But the whole main story feels so separated. Because, like, I mean, I get it, you're going in this region because this guy's the leader of this region. But, like, I don't know. I like my stories streamlined, I guess. I like my stories more flowy. Like, in the sense of like AC2 and AC3. You're just playing through the fucking story. You know what I mean? There's you know what you're doing, you're going through the story. Same with Black Flag and all those too. You're just going through the story, you know exactly what's the main story, you know what you're doing. And you're not having hours in between of important cutscenes. You know what I mean? Because, like, essentially, this game, the way the targets work and stuff, you have a cutscene at the start of a target, pretty good. You play the game for an hour or two, then you have a cutscene when you kill the target, that's it. You know what I mean? So I do like, that's another thing I will say, that is way better than Odyssey, Valhalla, Mirage. Cutscenes. This game has great cutscenes. Problem is, you get huge bursts of cutscenes. You know, so you'll watch a cutscene for fucking 20 minutes straight, and then you won't have a cutscene for like 3 hours. So that's kind of my issue. I would prefer cutscenes more often. I would prefer more story more often, because I feel like they kill off characters sometimes, and you're like, when the fuck did I meet this guy? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of characters in the game, big chunk of them not memorable. There are good characters, like I said earlier, but there's a good chunk that aren't memorable. and you don't spend enough time with a single character to actually care about them. The only characters you really care about is Junjiro, which is basically a fucking protagonist, even though you can't play him. Junjiro, Yasuke, and Naoe. Those are the only people you're with long enough to care about at all. And if you, well, you can't even skip their side stuff because it's part of the main story technically. But if you were to not play Yasuke and Naoe's backstory stuff, you would not like the main story for the most part. So that's my big issue with the game, is everything does feel separated, which, I mean, it's kind of how it is though. I mean, it's just how it is for them structuring these games this way. Because I doubt they'll change the structure of these RPG games. You know, you're going to have your main targets and they're all going to be separated on their giant ass map. So, it is what it is. It's kind of just the way the RPG games are. What else do I have to talk about that I disliked? Closer to launch, I had some issues with the game. It was just kind of frame drops here and there. That was about it. And pop-in. There was a little bit of pop-in when the game came out. It's all fixed now. I think that's really it for like stuff I disliked. I wouldn't call this game great by any means. I'd say it's very good though. I would say it's one of the best games Ubisoft has made in years. But I have nothing else bad to talk about. Overall, a good game. Yeah, and I hope post-launch they do more. I get these first few months of post-launch being, again, bug fixes and quality of life things. But I hope after post-launch, we do have on May 27th we have a Dead by Daylight crossover happening, which seems to have a quest with it. So I'll probably make a video on that, and that should be the parkour update. I'm pretty sure as well. I could be wrong. The parkour update might be in June. I think it is in June, actually. But, so, there'll be 2 videos. One about Dead by Daylight, one about fucking parkours. But, I hope post-launch is good. And at this point, it seems like we're not getting the DLC until August, at the earliest. Maybe July. So, personally, that sucks for me. Because if it does come out in August, I'm gonna have to wait. Because Gears of War comes out at the start of August. Pretty sure it was August 4th or some shit. And I'm playing Gears of War the night that comes out. I will literally no life Gears of War until that game is done. Because Gears of War is one of the games that started me playing video games for the most part. Like, yeah, I had a PS2 and I played PS2 games, but Gears of War is what got me into shit. Gears of War, all time one of my favorite franchises. So I'm playing the fuck out of that. I don't care. But overall, hopefully post-launch goes good for this game. I'm liking what I'm seeing though with the quality of life stuff, but they need to have new stuff for you to do. I mean, I haven't cleared even like probably in total. I probably barely cleared half the map, but I don't want to walk around the whole map. My issue is I would clear the whole map, but because the viewpoints don't get rid of the fog of war, I'm not fucking doing it. That's something they need to change. If you do all the viewpoints in a region, it should clear the whole map in that region. Because there ain't no way you got me walking up these fucking 100-foot tall fucking hills trying to get all this fucking map. I'm not doing it. If they change that, I'll go through and clear the map. But, yeah, I think that's it. So overall, I'd give the game a 7 out of 10. It's good, not great, but good. So the next Road to Platinum video is gonna be BioShock 2. I know we just did BioShock 1. Happened to work out. I spun the wheel on my phone, got BioShock 2. I was like, fuck yeah, BioShock 1 was a blast. Happy to do BioShock 2. That's another series that I just love. I got into BioShock way too late, but it's one of those series that I played the first one, done, love it. So BioShock 2 is going to be dope. I've never finished BioShock 2 before. I've gotten halfway through, and then for one reason or another, I stopped playing. But I'm very excited to play BioShock 2. Very excited. I've heard great things about it, and I'm very excited. I'm nervous about the Platinum. There's a lot of missable trophies for BioShock 2's Platinum. because you can't backtrack at all. Once you're done with the level, you're done with it. So I'm a little worried about that. I think I'll be okay, but it's something I'm a little scared of. But that will be the next road to platinum. It'll probably be like a month or two, if I'm gonna be honest. I hope it's not, but it'll probably be a month or two just because of how slow I am at playing games. I try to, but then I get busy with work, come home tired, don't want to play anything, or you know, you get a free day and you want to, you know, just kind of sit in bed and watch TV. Because games are sometimes tiring, you know, especially when you're doing tedious shit. I don't think it'll be like that for Bioshock 2 though. Like Bioshock 1, I got that shit done in like 2 days. The only reason it took so long is because I didn't play it for like weeks before I started actually playing it. I straight up got that shit done in like 2 days. But yeah, so that's the video. This is the first time I've platinumed a game right after fucking buying it. Usually I platinum a game like years after I've beaten it or something. This is the first game I've platinumed like right after buying it, which is pretty cool. I know I'm way behind everybody else, but what can you do? So, anyway, yeah. Next Road to Platinum video, be Bioshock 2. Other stuff on the channel right now is Oblivion Remake and Like a Dragon 7. And then, or Yakuza 7. And then I'm also filming the Sherlock Holmes remaster, or not remaster, Sherlock Holmes Chapter 1. That'll go live after Yakuza 7. And then, yeah, that's it for right now. I'm not going to give too much away. But, yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below what you guys want to see on the channel in the future. I'll see you guys very soon in the next one. Stay safe out there, and peace out, guys.